My name is Arielle and I'm a dog trainer in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I am what the dog training world refers to as a balanced dog trainer. This means that I believe in positive and negative. I believe in teaching all the things I want with food, praise, treats, and all the good stuff. But I also believe in corrections or punishment. However you want to word it, I believe in saying no to dogs, and I believe in doing it effectively. This doesn't mean yelling at dogs, raising my voice, getting emotional. It doesn't mean timeouts and throwing them in the kennel and letting them think about what they did wrong. It's corrections in the moment, teaching them right from wrong effectively. And I do this by using prongs and e-collars. There's a lot of misconceptions about these tools, that they're meant to cause fear and stress out dogs and shut them down and just force them to obey. That's not at all how they work. When I'm actually using these tools, I start by teaching the dog how to do things. This is done with leash guidance and low-level remote collar training. So we're not shocking dogs to make them obey. It doesn't work that way. These tools are not magic. We're not going to press a button and dogs will magically start to listen. So this is Skittles. Skittles is 14 years old and has always been a very easy dog to train. I followed the steps, did everything I was supposed to, and she just turned out pretty great. There wasn't a lot of behavior problems along the way, a little bit of leash pulling. She chewed a baseboard once. She did go through some fear issues as a puppy, but they just kind of seemed to work their way out. So as much as I did things right, I think it would have been hard to do things wrong. She just had that personality. Unfortunately, not all dogs are like this. So as I started to look more into training, I was getting friends and family asking, why is she so good? Why is she such an easy, calm dog? And I'd like to think that I did a few things right, but I think it was also just who she was. So as I started giving out advice, it wasn't always working for people. They had more challenging dogs, bigger problems to deal with, problems that food training and praise just weren't fixing. So I started looking more into behavior problems and how to actually correct them and work with more challenging dogs. When I started looking into dog training as more of a career and not a hobby, I talked to dog trainers and their biggest piece of advice was, you need to start working dogs. So having the world's easiest dog, I looked at getting a puppy. So I looked at a couple different breeds. I was getting really excited, and it was a couple months I was getting my puppy. And then I got a call from a family member about Taylor. And Taylor was having some behavior problems with her family, and it just wasn't a good fit anymore. And they knew that I had been looking into training and asked if I wanted to foster Taylor, work with her on training, and then find her a home. So I said, tell me more about her. What are the problems that she's having? And the problems were that, she wasn't good on a leash. She liked to pull a lot, so she wasn't getting outside of the house much. She liked to destroy things in the house and just didn't listen. I know how to do this. I've read the books, I've watched the videos. This is gonna be easy. I was a little bit naive then, and Taylor was my first real big challenge. So the day that I brought her home, she actually dragged me across the driveway and pinned Skittles to the ground. It was not a good moment for any of us. I thought a lot in the next few days, is this really what I want to do? Do I want to put Skittles through this? How are these dogs ever going to coexist? And we worked through it. When I first started training Taylor, everything was a distraction. I always start in a low distraction environment. I start inside a house, no other dogs in the room, no people in the room. And even then, getting Taylor's focus was a big challenge. She was very food motivated and would work for food, but if a motorcycle went by the window, I would lose all focus. If, she heard Skittles in a different room, lose all focus. So we started right at the basics. We started doing sit, come, place, down, all of that on leash and on a prong collar. This was a way of getting Taylor's attention and helping guide her through all those moments. All of our training took place inside for the first several days. We did try to go for a walk, but if we saw a dog on the walk or a person on the walk, it was full meltdown. Food, treats, none of this was going to distract her in that moment. She had high prey drive, reactive to dogs, extremely fearful of humans. Food doesn't trump any of that. So we began adding a remote collar to our training program, and for Taylor, it was a game changer. It was a way of effectively communicating her in all those high stress moments where she truly didn't know what she was supposed to do besides react. Things slowly began to improve for Taylor. She started to focus. She started learning what was appropriate behavior and what wasn't. Skittles finally came around and we started walking together, and that went really well. And now these two coexist wonderfully. I use the term coexist. They do not like each other. Taylor now knows how to play with dogs appropriately. She's really great with puppies, and a lot of really good stuff has come out of her training. But she knows what dogs to engage with and what dogs not to. She doesn't try to play with Skittles. She doesn't pick on her. She just leaves her alone. And Skittles is good with that. These two can be on the same couch together. They can be in the back of the car together. And I don't worry for a second of what's going to happen. They've learned that I'm going to advocate for them, that I'm going to keep both of them safe, and they know their boundaries. A lot of dog owners worry that by putting a prong collar or a remote collar on their dog, that they're going to ruin the relationship that they have. But a lot of owners are actually struggling to even walk their dog or get them out the front door or to have people in their home. And that's not a great relationship to have with your dog when you're constantly yelling at them or dreading going outside because you don't know what's going to happen, or waking up really early in the morning so that you make sure you get your walk in before anyone else does, and that you don't see those things on the walk so that your dog can react to them. Having tools like prong collars and e-collars are just going to build your relationship with your dog. Yes, we use them for corrections as well. And yes, dogs can be afraid when using them. But if Taylor wants to lunge at a dog and I correct her and she has a fear response, I'm okay with that. I want her to be afraid of lunging at dogs. That is not a good choice for her to make, and I'm okay if a correction causes that. It's not going to cause her to hate dogs. It's not going to cause her to hate me. It's going to teach her that lunging at dogs is not a good choice. And this is what we need to start doing with our dogs. We have to hold them accountable. We have to show them right from wrong, and there has to be a consequence for making those bad choices. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you learned a bit more about me, my dogs, and my style of training. If you have any questions, please comment below or let me know what you'd like to learn. Let's get training.